Nunes against
Pena.
Juliana Pena. Yeah.
Pena. Sorry. Just didn't want to mess her name up again. Pena. Sorry, woman. I'm just still trying to remember how to pronounce your name, right? Pena. So, first of all, again, nivinci was right. He was off by a round, though. He was off by a round. Okay. I don't know what happened
earlier.
Pardon me?
She finished her 1 round earlier, right?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Nunes, but she seemed out of shape even though she was cut.
No. Stop it. I got to stop you right there.
What?
She did not seem out of shape. You want to know why? Because when she's leading up to the fight, looked like she was in the best shape of her career.
Hey, fam, let me finish, and then you can rebuttal. Okay? I just told you. I said, I don't know how she seemed out of shape even though she was cut. She was built right. Pena applied pressure and set the round by standing toe-to-toe with Nunes, hitting her with combos, as well as a stiff jab, creating an opening and pushing Nunes to the edge of the cage for a takedown where Nunes gave up the choke before she even said it. So congratulations to Pena for talking that talk and walking that walk, because everything that she said she was going to do, she did. If you look back at the submission, it wasn't even fully set in, and she tapped. She knew she lost. Now, listen, I still got love for you, Nunes, okay? But I need you to go on your sword, girl. I need you to fight. I know you was tired. You know what I mean? And I don't know why she was tired, because it was like they were trading back and forth, and I don't know if it's the shots that she took to the face that had her mouth wide open and she was gasping for air, or if she got ripped and cut for nothing and came out there and absolutely laid a dud. But go ahead, nivinci.
Okay, so there's something happened in this fight, and it happened in the next fight we're going to talk about, right? So this fight, the reason why Amanda Nunes did something bad is she knocked the first round. She clocked Pena, right? Pena dropped, right? And Amanda Nunes went to the ground with Pena, right? Now, see, leading up to the fight here, you know, Amanda Nunes is talking about, oh, I'm better than this in the ground, blah, 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 blah. Listen, sometimes people fight with pride and they fight with ego, and that's the worst thing you can ever have. It'll give you a lot of losses, trust me. Amanda Nunes went to the ground and she spent half of the first round on top of Juliana Pena. She spent some of that up against the cage too before they went to the ground, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that all leading up to that king is what's getting her tired, right? If she would have just allowed Pena to get back up, get back in the center of the octagon and use her striking and use her strength, she'd be fine. But she spent all that time down there and she's trying to hold Pena down, and Pena was there trying to get that Kimura from the bottom for like half of the round. So that was her forcing, Amanda Nunes forcing to use her energy. And I said it from the start. She doesn't have the greatest stamina, cardio.
No, I feel you. The thing is, though, when you look at the second round, I don't know if she could have stood with him, because Pena was teeing off.
Well, no, you're right. As soon as the second round started, Pena got even more aggressive because she saw what I saw before the fight was even played out. Listen, if Amanda Nunes don't finish you in the first round, if you are dangerous, you can get her out, right? So Pena kept coming, and she kept coming with the jab, and she kept coming with, like, listen, Pena striking is not, it's not great at all, right? But
it's good. Listen, it's good. It's decent. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's poo-poo, because like I said, she was hitting her with a stiff jab, and she hit her with a couple 1-2s. And then, like I said, they both stood their teeing off at each other, and she was connecting more than Nunes. And it just seemed like at first Nunes was eating them. Like, that's all you got. And then eventually Nunes started doing the wobbly. I think she was listening to Juvenile, you know, back that ass up. Because she backed up against the cage, and Pena said, yo, your soul is mine.
Oh, she was listening to the 504 boys, right?
Yeah.
Wobbly. Well, yeah, no disrespect to Penny's striking skills. That's what I'm not trying to go at. There's just levels to it, and certain people's strikings are beyond. But yeah, so she kept going, and she kept Amanda Nunes would throw a punch. Pena would come back with like two, right? She'd come back with a 1-2, and then she'd come back with a double jab, and she just kept clocking Nunes. And when I look at it, it's like, okay, the end is coming. Nunes with her mouth open, she looks stunned. And listen, once the fight was announced, this is how I saw it going down. I'll kid you not. So this is not a surprise to me.
Man. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna do this in reverse. Pena. Awesome job. Awesome job. You made her spend all of her energy from that Kimura. Literally, all your energy was gone from there. Because I literally watched how she was trying to stop it, and she couldn't stop her from actually pulling out her arm. She needed her left leg and to anchor her knee in, so that way Pena couldn't fully pull out her arm. So she needed to wedge her arm basically in there and let her sit there until she gave up. Because if Nunes tried moving or doing anything, she would have got her out in the first round. Now there's...
Yeah, so Nunes... Sorry to just attest what you're saying there. Nunes had to use a lot of energy on her arms to stay in that position, right? Because if she made one wrong move, Pena would have popped it out, right? It could have used it for a reversible, or it could have tapped her with it. Go on, please.
Right, so and then when they came into the second round, that was the number one factor. Nunes threw one punch, Pena threw freaking 2 to 3. So you have 1 to 2 to 3. Now to get on to Nunes. One, I don't know what was going on through your head when you got to the ground, because that made me angry to look at your face and see that smile on your face. For what reason? She is known for taking limbs, pitting people out. She is a submission artist. We know this. She now has been known as a striker, because now people are starting to recognize, oh, it's not just if she takes me to the ground. If she actually starts to layer on these punches, she's going to put me to sleep quick, because she has quick punches. So it was like, why? Why for the love of hell were you sitting there smiling? No, you should have had your head in the game. For the chokehold, no, I did see that at one point in time she did have that in deep, but I'm sorry, I'm crediting it to Pena. It's not Nunes giving up. Pena kept on, and they were right. Exactly what the announcer said. She's used to people just sitting there. Pena was not sitting there. She's trying to get submissions from the bottom. She's trying to scramble out from the bottom to get a reversal, and she's not trying to get up from the ground. She's trying to get a reversal or submit you while she's on her back. And Nunes has not had a lot of people who have done that to her, and the people who have aren't as shifty as Pena. Like, they don't have that skill of being able to shift yourself on the ground while having somebody else's weight on top of you. Now, there's one thing that I noticed with both of them. You've heard me say this throughout the past couple fights. Foot movement was practically non-existent between these two, especially Nunes. And head movement, especially Nunes. Like, you're walking into those punches. Who cares if you can take them? They start to add on. That's damage being added on little by little. You have 5 rounds. Now, imagine if she would have took you to 5 rounds. You would have been wobbly from, like, the very first to second shot, because you were just eating everything. She needed to move her head out of the way. She needed to use better footwork, because all she was doing is pressing forward, pressing forward, pressing forward. And then when she'd get laced, all of a sudden she'd take 2 steps back. Well, instead of taking 2 steps back, just pivot. Take a step out. Right? These were things that I thought Nunes would have used to help her against Pena. And I didn't think that she would actually take Pena to the ground and want to do any ground engagement with her. But she did. And once again, like Nivinci said, and like I said, and like we all said, it drained all of her energy. She was done after that.
Yeah. Listen. It was not a good decision to go on the ground. It's never. I don't understand why you make that decision to go on the ground. Standing up, that's your domain. That's where you put people to sleep on the regular. Listen, Amanda Nunes is the GOAT. She has nothing else to prove. She still has a belt. That's how good she is. She's still another belt she got to defend. And guess what? I think she's gonna get an immediate rematch. Right? She deserves it. Nobody can say nothing. So that's it. She just made listen, it's the pressure and it's the feistiness of Pena, man, that played dividends.
For sure, for sure.